career changes. That's for sure. I think we've all been there, and some of the research suggests that millions of Brits are considering a career change in 2024. Obviously, the sort of economy's changed, the world's a changing place as well. People are looking into opportunities out there. Today, we're a fascinating guest. Sean Wilson's actor, author, and award-winning business owner, and Anthony Clark, who's business development manager at AAT. Welcome to the show. Great to have you on board.
Yeah, great. Nice to be here.
Yeah, no, fantastic. So, sort of in terms of yourself, Sean, if we sort of start with yourself in terms of your sort of career change, can you give our listeners a bit of an insight into sort of what sort of motivated you and how things are going for you in terms of your decision to sort of go into business and amongst other things?
Well, I guess anyone that decides to change a career, they have a myriad thoughts going through their mind for a while. I had this passion balloon that was blowing up and getting towards bursting point of food and cooking and provenance, and I was really kind of outgrowing my kitchen. While I was still working at ATV, I would have dinner parties and for 12 members of cast, and we'd all have a good relax together, and I'd be doing all kinds of cordon bleu food, and it was great. And that's the kind of place that you have to go through before you come out the other end as a good cook. So 2005, there's an editorial decision has to be made. I decide against the storyline writers. I think it's not for me. Now's a good time. This passion balloon for food is ready to burst. So 2005, I step out of the studios and into a Michelin star restaurant.
Amazing, yeah, that's amazing stuff, Sean. And it's inspiring. I think you've mentioned there. It seems to me that you kind of found your calling. I know that's quite deep, but in terms of like where you want to go, type thing, and like what you really. I mean, how important is it, do you think, Sean, to have someone to help you, like a mentor? It's not always easy business. It's obviously the world's changed as well. So, in terms of the way business operates, but do you think it's important to have someone to help you along the way, someone to help mentor you a little bit, give you a few ideas, and just to bounce a few ideas off?
I've had a few people help me along the way. Michelin Kitchen, I was introduced to a Lancashire cheesemaker, Lancashire being, my area. I've been, he was a cheesemaker. I've been brought up on that cheese from being, a wee bairn, and he was looking for someone to teach. And that was a moment of synergy. We met, we got on well, and I essentially became his apprentice for the next 2 years. So there's a second helper, the chef himself. And then after 2 years, I decide that I have a British Cheese Award under my belt, and I decide to step into the world of business. And then I had another mentor, a friend of mine who owned a big company in Manchester, and he was very kind, and it became my mentor, my business mentor, and we came up with a blueprint of licensing and stroke royalty, so we could tie all my products up with labelling and packaging and cheese itself, and bring one price to the floor, and I could project that onto the to the distributors, and then they could project it onto the supermarkets. There's 3 mentors. So, yes, they were very important to me.
No, that's brilliant insight. And in terms of, say, people looking, I mean, I suppose you could make a case for like one of the most important people in any business is sort of the accounting as well. And there might be people looking to go into the area of accounting. And give us an insight in terms of like what's involved, what are the advantages for anyone listening who's maybe thinking, I want to become or find a career in accountancy?
Well, just to finish my little story off just a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the bubble. That's the bubble of passion. I had to step into the world of business, and things are a little bit different, and they're a bit hotter in the world of business and finance. And the cheese industry is a very fast train. It's a multi-billion-pound company, profit-making industry, and you have to jump on that train, and you have to be businesslike. And of course, I wasn't. I could make cheese. So, Anthony and I are here today to extol the virtues of an accounting apprenticeship, which I wish was around in 2005.
Absolutely, that's a great point you've made there, Sean. I think that it's one thing being good at what you do, good at your craft, but turning it into business is a whole different sort of ball game altogether, really. And if you've got someone who can sort of help you along the way, and particularly in the field of sort of finance, it's just a massive help. So, I mean, I'm sure a lot of listeners are probably considering or have considered or might consider going into the world of accountancy. And just I'll level that question over at Anthony. What's your take on it? If anyone's sort of considering to go into that profession.
So, Jimmy, there's a couple of different points I'd like to talk about here. We've undertaken research recently, and some really interesting findings. 6.9 million Brits are considering a career change this year, which is really quite considerable. 1 in 5 of those are confused about what would be the next best steps for them to take. From an AAT perspective, we are the world's leading professional body for accounting technicians. We design vocational qualifications to support people in developing their accountancy and finance knowledge. And our career changer market is significant. So people that have maybe held down a career in a different area and are now looking to change. We see really strong numbers of students coming through that route every year, and that could be for a number of different purposes. There's huge demand for accountants out there at the moment. So from a career changer perspective, people using AAT qualifications to make that jump into work within a pure accountancy role. We then have people that have maybe sort of helped out a friend or family with doing the books for them and realise that they're really very good at it and that there's a business opportunity. So for them, it's that those qualifications help to pave the way for them to go up and potentially set up their own bookkeeping or accountancy practice. And then we have the millions of people like Sean that have decided they want to go out and set up their own business. They don't necessarily want to become a fully qualified accountant, but actually having some accountancy knowledge under their belt really helps them with those, especially in those early years of setting up a new business, having that good, strong financial acumen that essentially is going to help their business to strive or survive. So that's a big area where we've undertaken our research and seeing the career changers points of view. But then when we look at school leavers and those that are in the midst of making decisions about what they want to do after completing school, we found that over 6 in 10 young people feel pressurised to pursue university as their next step after school, and that's something that in 2024 we do find slightly strange, in that apprenticeships have really revolutionised the way in which businesses are approaching recruitment and talent development in recent years. We're seeing thousands of businesses every year investing in AAT qualifications and apprenticeship programs for young people. We're seeing a growing number of young people that are choosing to pursue an apprenticeship rather than going to university. This isn't a case of people not being able to go to university because they haven't got the academic grades. This is about people really seeing the value in the way that apprenticeships run, the opportunity to gain your professional AAT qualifications at the same time as being in that business environment, learning day by day from business professionals, almost learning by osmosis those wider business skills outside of the technical accountancy skills, things like using technology, things like collaboration, communication. It's an amazing way for people to learn. And then there's the financial consideration to be made as well. In our recent surveys, we found that an apprenticeship starting salary is typically in the region of £20,000. If you add that up over the typical 2 to 3 year pathway in which somebody will be studying their apprenticeship, you're looking in the region of £50,000 to £60,000 that person will have earned during their apprenticeship. And if you weigh that off against the average £50,000 debt that somebody comes away with after completing university, well, you don't need to be an accountant to see that there's some real financial benefits to approaching the apprenticeship route. And there's a number of different ways in which AAT can support people in finding the right qualification and the right pathways for themselves.
No, so it's really interesting and informative. I mean, obviously, sort of like, there'll be a lot of people considering going to uni, but I think you've sort of certainly made a strong case for for an apprenticeship, that's for sure. Be it financially experienced amongst other things as well. We've got the deadlines, the UCAS deadlines sort of approaching quickly. It's hard to give obviously advice to anyone, but just maybe a few pointers if there's anyone sort of listening in who's thinking, okay, they're not quite sure what they want to do when they've sort of left school, and this could be an option for them. Is there any sort of tips you can give them, anyone sort of listening in?
So the first thing I would say is to visit the AAT website, aat.org.uk/apprenticeships, where there's a whole host of information and resources that will help people to make a more informed decision. And I think that's the key, Jimmy. It's not about saying apprenticeships are the only route, university's the only route. It's about looking at it from an individual perspective. What are your career aspirations? What's the best way that you're going to be able to get into the career that you're looking for? How can vocational qualifications help me to support myself to be job ready? So it's about looking at all of the information that's there, looking at what your own aspirations are, and then trying to make an informed decision by getting as much information as you can to make that right choice.
So that's wise advice, really. Do what's right for you. And I suppose sometimes people might do what they think is the everyone else is doing type thing, and they try and tie into that as well. But if they just take a bit of time to think about what they're doing first of all and what's going to work for them. But I think Sean really mentioned the value of getting a business mentor. I mean, someone who's sort of maybe an expert in a specific field. If anyone's sort of listening in thinking, well, we'd like to find a mentor but isn't quite sure how to go about doing it, is there any sort of way they can sort of go about finding a mentor?
So from the apprenticeship perspective, the whole spirit of that apprenticeship program is that you will be mentored and developed by colleagues, leaders within the business. So that's absolutely one way to approach it. Beyond that, it would be good to bring your experience in here, Sean, actually, as to how you sort of came around your business mentor.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I just thought I'd let you explain the technical side. Well, yes, I have been blessed with some really good people and friends, who are in business, and they've offered themselves. And once you're in and you're at a trot, let's say, you will also be meeting other people in your fraternity. It's a very wide fraternity, the cheese industry, and you will meet some good people. And I do lots of international judging as well, and you will meet some good friends in that kind of environment. And they're very, wise people. They've been involved for a long time. And, I will find that I'll find myself very cozily parked under their wing for a while they give me some advice and maybe point me to somebody so he can help you out. And, so that it's more like shop floor work in that direction, but nonetheless, yes, they do mentor me.
No, absolutely, and I mean there's a strong value in that in terms of obviously there's sort of no shortcuts to a certain extent, but it's good to learn from people. Obviously, we learn from experience as well, but I can see how getting around people who can offer that support and sort of be around people who sort of can offer some invaluable insights can obviously help us along the way too. That's for sure. I just want to sort of if our listeners, if they want to find out where they can find your business, Sean. I mean, Saddleworth's a nice part of the world. You have some walks there regularly. Where can they sort of go to if they want to have check it out? Are you open to sort of is there people can buy direct, or how does that?
Well, we are makers and we distribute out, and it's normally specialised cheese shops or farm shops or restaurants that take our cheese. The one that I always dictate to people, the very good online source of my cheese, are the Crosby Cheese and Charcuterie Shop in Crosby near Liverpool, who their online service is excellent, and so you can order my cheese and you will find it on your front door the very next day.
Brilliant, fantastic. Now, thanks for your time. It's been really interesting and informative. And just remind of where they can go. I think the website. I know you've mentioned it, but just so
of course,
remind people where it is.
Indeed. So it's aat.org.uk apprenticeships.
Fantastic. Thanks for your time and have a great day. Thanks again.
Brilliant. Thank you,
thanks
Jimmy.
ever so much.
Thank you
then, Jimmy.